Superior Iron Man finds some devastating details in the origin story of teen Abomination. 13-year-old Jamie has been kind of taken under Iron Man's wing, so when Iron Man tries to figure out exactly what happened to transform Jamie into this monstrous form known as Teen Abomination, turns out that he's a little bit more involved than he initially thought. Let's not waste any more time as we recap Superior Iron Man issue 5. Let's go! Tony Stark and Teen Abomination, aka Jamie, are inside Stark's lab, where Stark plans to run tests to figure out the cause of Jamie's recent transformation into this Hulk-like form. Jamie sits, strapped into a chair, surrounded by needles and various strange equipment pointing straight at him. Jamie, nervous, asks if this is all really necessary, but Stark reminds him of his violent rage outbursts and his nearly impenetrable skin. Before Jamie can even finish reacting, Stark casually admits that this whole thing was just a setup, as a distraction. Then suddenly jabs Jamie with a needle, drawing blood. Jamie yelps in pain and snaps, trying to attack Stark, but Stark easily blocks him. Tony calmly warns him that as a 13-year-old, he probably can't fully understand, but it's a very bad idea to attack the man who has infinite resources and just figured out how to pierce his indestructible skin. Jamie cools down, watching Stark insert the blood sample into a machine. Stark explains that this machine will search his DNA to uncover exactly what's happened to him and how he transformed. As Stark pours himself a drink and stretches out on a sofa, he casually asks Jamie to walk him through what happened when he first changed, his so-called origin story. Jamie starts explaining. His mom, Katrina, worked as a scientist at Stark Industries. Unfortunately, she's passed away now. We flash back to 8 years ago. Katrina is rushing to work, dragging her 5-year-old son Jamie along. Another scientist, Steven, stops her and asks why she brought a child into the lab. Katrina explains that Jamie is currently unwell and she couldn't find a sitter, so he had to come along. She asks about the shielding on the gamma radiation tests they're about to run, and Steven admits it isn't as thick as they planned, but insists it will be adequate. Katrina clearly isn't satisfied, muttering that it feels like Stark wants the company to fail. She also wonders aloud if Stark even plans to show up for the demonstration. And just then, Happy Hogan appears, apologizing on Stark's behalf. Tony won't be attending. Katrina, unimpressed, sarcastically replies, "Really Happy? So what was her name?" implying Stark's usual distractions. She jokes that Stark probably paid Happy to cover up and lie for him. Despite her irritation, Katrina carefully prepares the demonstration. She puts safety goggles on little Jamie, warning him about the bright lights and telling him to stand well back. When she activates the machine, bright green lights glow. But suddenly, there's a violent explosion. Gamma energy bursts out, injuring several scientists. Katrina lies motionless on the floor as Jamie panics. Happy frantically tries to shut down the machine as gamma radiation pours into the room. Back in the present, Stark reflects somberly. He remembers this case. The project was supposed to be a breakthrough in cancer treatment. Jamie accuses him of neglecting the company. Stark doesn't deny it. He even admits to firing Katrina afterwards. But the memory is hazy. This was during the time that Stark was leading a double life as Iron Man, secretly keeping his two identities separate. However, he does remember one other thing. This was the same day that the supervillain Black Lama returned. The flashback continues. Black Lama, a strange interdimensional king holding a golden orb, has teamed up with Whiplash to defeat Iron Man. Lama was running bizarre trials to choose someone worthy of inheriting his power and kingdom, and Whiplash was his chosen champion. Stark sums it up in one word: insane. Iron Man defeated Whiplash, but Black Lama unleashed an assault on Stark's mind, forcing him to see and feel horrors Stark refuses to describe to 13-year-old Jamie. Stark barely overcame the attack, but was left so drained he crash-landed back at Stark Industries, rescued by Happy Hogan. He remembers whispering for Pepper and starting to say, "We need to," before his memory simply ends. Jamie innocently asks Stark how a Black Llama managed to defeat him, revealing that this whole time he thought Stark was talking about an actual llama. The question catches Stark completely off guard. Smirking, Stark shifts the focus back to Jamie's story, because Stark himself remembers nothing about the creation of a gamma-powered 5-year-old monster. Jamie explains what happened 2 weeks ago. In human form, he was being bullied, pinned down by other kids who stole and broke his skateboard right in front of him. When he got home, his mom was holding overdue bills, but quickly noticed the bruises on his face. Jamie tried to make excuses, but Katrina saw right through them and gently encouraged him to try to fit in a little bit better. Jamie interrupted her, asking for a new skateboard, but Katrina admitted they didn't have the money. Frustrated and angry, Jamie storms off to his room. There, something inside him snapped. His eyes glowed green. As he slammed his hands down in rage, an explosion obliterated the house. When the dust cleared, Jamie stood, transformed, hulking, monstrous, surrounded by rubble. Then he saw his mother beneath the debris. She had been killed by the blast. Back in the lab, Stark suggests that this is why Jamie can't transform back. The rage and guilt from killing his own mother is keeping him locked in this monstrous form. Tony gently asks about Jamie's father, but Jamie says that he never knew him. At that moment, Stark checks the results of the DNA test, and what he finds stuns him. Jamie's biological father is Happy Hogan, or rather was Happy Hogan, as Stark confirms that Happy has passed away too. Even Tony is shocked. For once, Stark softens. He turns to Jamie and says that as the son of one of the very few people Stark genuinely cared about, he's going to help him. Jamie blinks in surprise. Tony already said that he was going to help before, but Stark clarifies. Before, he was only interested in Jamie for curiosity and profit, pulling him apart just to see how he worked. Now he's going to try and cure him. Properly, for real, starting tomorrow. Jamie asks if Stark should be going out and protecting the city, but Stark says there's no need. His network of surveillance drones covers every inch of San Francisco. They can see through walls. No one in the city dares to step out of line, knowing they're constantly being watched. Later, alone in his lab, Stark decides to review footage from the day of his battle with Black Lama. The day his memory blanks out. But every time he tries to access the files, they're gone, wiped from every server. And then it hits him. He can't remember that day. And there's no record of it anywhere. Someone has stolen a whole day from Tony Stark. His expression hardens as he asks himself out loud, who could have done something like that? And if you're still craving more Iron Man content, make sure to check out my Iron Man playlist, or check out the rest of my channel where I upload Marvel content just like this every single week. But for the meantime, peace, peace, peace.